Yo, welcome in to another episode of the Dynasty Dogs podcast. I'm your host, Rich McAteer. Alongside me, as always, is Michael Anthony. We are back after several weeks of car accidents and vacations and work and everything else that isn't fun. We're back to have some fun, finally. Back in the dome.
Life finds a way to fuck up our fun every once in a while. Life really does do that. Ain't it fucking great?
Dude texted me. I don't think I could do the episode tonight. I got into a car accident, but I'll let you know. Like, go home and take care of your broken neck, Kurt Angle.
No, but yeah, I'm doing fine. Everything's fine. All fine.
Everything. It's that picture of the dog with the burning house.
Oh yeah, it's with the cup of coffee cup. This is fine.
Not only that, but we did find some cards, but we will get to that.
But Rich, you forgot the main thing.
Mm.
Since we've been back, or since we've been gone, training camp has started.
We're
getting loads of clips, loads of fun stuff going on. We had football last night, and that'll lead us right into our news. Richard.
Three quarters of football. And...
yeah. Well, if you really just want to call that one quarter of football, it's the Hall of Fame game. Bears took on the Houston Texans. Obviously, there was no Caleb Williams, no C.J. Stroud, no Roma Dunze, no Tank Dell, no Nico Collins. No really anybody of star stature played in this game. And that typically is what happens with the Hall of Fame game. It kind of sucks that they don't. But again, I think they worry about that field because I feel like a lot of injuries have happened at the Hall of Fame game. Yeah.
But it scratches the itch that we have.
It did. Yeah, it did. And then, within 15 minutes, I was like, this. I need the regular stuff back.
I think I'm one of the one of the outliers who love preseason football.
Oh, so do I.
I love watching random people for the Eagles, and I'm like, Tim Tebow. Remember when Tim Tebow was on the Eagles? I'm like, this is awesome.
I just feel like the Hall of Fame game is like the dumbed down version of preseason football. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
I enjoy preseason football, but that's just not great.
Mm-hmm.
Bears won 21-17. The main thing I really want to talk about is the new kickoff rule. How do you feel about that?
It's so corny. I think I've seen one kickoff, and I'm trying to understand. So what? They kick the ball, no one can move
until they touch it. Yeah,
that's like the XFL then, right?
Yeah, I think essentially
it's like the XFL rules. Which a lot of people clown the XFL, but the NFL has gotten multiple things from the XFL.
True.
Including that the overhead camera was invented by the XFL. But I don't know. It's just like they're trying to take everything out of football. If you want to take out the kickoffs, then just take out the kickoffs, dude.
I really like it because I think it adds more than just touchbacks and kicks going out of the end zone.
It's definitely better than that.
Yeah. So I enjoy that, and I think we're going to see more kickoff returns this year. And I also think, especially in leagues where, dynasty leagues or fantasy football leagues in general, that have special teams points as part of their scoring system like we do in our home league, this could be huge for certain players.
And not only that, it could be huge for roster spots too, because now you're actually thinking of who, for your team is going to be the kick returner, not just the punt returner. Stuff like that. Whereas last year, you can, they barely kicked or barely returned it. So,
yeah, like I said, I was watching touchbacks and kicks out of the end zone is super boring. So this adds a little bit of a dimension to it. And it also reminds me of a game we used to play when we were wee lads, get the man with the ball. Basically, you would throw the ball up in the air. You'd have to wait for it to hit the ground and grab it. And then everybody would go after one person.
Yeah.
That was always a fun game and injury-riddled game. But
yes.
The only other real noteworthy things was Cam Akers scored a touchdown.
I was going to say he looked good.
Yeah, he did. But it kind of seems like he's at the bottom of the barrel when it comes to that, rushing offense. Joe Mixon, by the way, has been missing in action with an injury that whole time. So that's one thing. They didn't use Dameon Pierce at all, so I don't know if that means I imagine that means he's a solidified RB2. That's would be my guess, but
Yeah.
who really knows? Because he kind of got faded out last year pretty quickly.
I feel like they could go with him, or they could trade him and go with Cam Akers, because I feel like Cam Akers kind of had a string of bad luck when he with his injuries and stuff, because he was good. Like, he was he looked like he was on the rise, and then injury after injury. Yeah.
But and then the other real big thing was Khalil Herbert and Roschon Johnson.
The guy I can't pronounce his name at all.
Seemed to be battling back and forth for the RB2 spot. Roschon outsnapped Khalil Herbert last night, so that makes me think that Khalil is probably closer to the RB2 right now, you would think.
Mm-hmm.
But again, that running back room, DeAndre Swift is a starter. And then, to be honest, like, I like Roschon and Khalil Herbert both. Like, I think they're both good running backs.
Yeah, and especially nowadays, you need like 2 running backs, so it's like,
especially with Swift.
Yeah. Oh, Swift. I'm counting down the minutes until he's hurt. So,
not only yesterday was that the start of the NFL season, we had just a plethora of injury news come out that I probably didn't get everybody. But Geno Smith dodges a major injury to his hip. The news that came out originally was it doesn't look great. There started to be some rumblings of Sam Howell going to be the starter.
I already told you by week 7, dude. By week 7, he's starting.
Well, you mean like Geno losing his job, but then this seemed like it was going to be him out for an injury-related purpose, but now it seems like he'll be ready to go week 1 from what I was reading today. Your guy and my guy, a guy we're both big fans of, DeAndre Hopkins, knee injury, expected to miss 4 weeks. 4 to 6, I believe it said.
Yeah, okay. So you said 4 I heard 6 just initially. That sucks.
It's tough with a dude that old.
Yeah.
And a lot of miles and a new offense. And he's had knee injuries previously. So this is going to be something we're going to have to monitor for dynasty purposes and fantasy in general.
So that puts him, 4 months into 4 weeks in August. 5, 6. So he won't be ready till like week 3.
Week 2, I think it is roughly. It's 6 weeks. If it's 4 weeks, I think the first game is like the first or second week in September. So I think that would put him right on the money. But again, he's an older wide receiver. This might take a little longer. Who knows?
He's my favorite receiver, like, I think, of all time. Just watching.
Yeah, he's one of mine too. He's up there for me.
Mm-hmm.
And this is like an offense that's going to need him to be healthy, because they're building around Will Levis and they're trying to make it, all systems go. But they need DeAndre Hopkins. Calvin Ridley gets a bump because of this. Treylon Burks gets a bump.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah. But Treylon Burks gets a bump, breaks his arm. Don't worry.
Did you see I tweeted out when the Undertaker rising up out of the casket as like Treylon Burks reacting to this
funny
news?
Did you see Will Levis and who was it? Got the other quarterback goes their backup got into a fight?
Malik Willis?
Nah, was it the other? I forget. Like, I seen some on Twitter that they got into a fight. I don't know if it's like legit.
I haven't seen anything like
off
that.
Topic. Lamar Jackson is number 2 in the NFL Top 100. Get the fuck out of here.
I mean, the dude's super talented, and he's always in the MVP race when healthy. So it's kind of hard not to put him in like the top, 5 to 10. But 2 seems a little high.
Yeah.
But the next one is something that you mentioned. Go ahead. What were you going to say?
I did. Don't search Will Levis on Twitter. This is not what I'm looking for.
No, don't.
I'm not looking for fucking. It's like BJ videos of fucking from Will Levis and his girlfriend. How about the fight?
Yeah.
What the fuck?
No, he got leaked apparently, so that's not.
Did he? Is that real? Does that? I guess that's.
I have no idea. That's everyone's saying.
Mason Rudolph.
Yeah.
Was a fight is broken out between Mason Rudolph and Will Levis. After Rudolph threw a quick touchdown pass, turned to Levis and said, "Ooh, you're about to be the sorriest backup in the league."
I don't think that's real because I don't believe any of that shit.
I don't know, dude.
But Another big injury that happened. You messaged it to me. I didn't really think anything of it until I really started looking into it. Justin Herbert, patellar
plantar
fascia.
fascia.
Yeah.
Plantar fasciitis.
Expected to, yeah, that. Thank you.
Mhm.
Expected to be ready by week 1. That's what they're saying now. But, just looking into it, it seems like that's something that could linger for a little bit, even
It does
afterwards.
linger. Mm-hmm.
I don't know anything about it. I know that's on your planting foot or when you're planting your
Well,
feet.
it's on your foot.
Yeah. So that's pretty huge for a quarterback. You need to kind of be able to, plant your feet to put the ball in the air. So it'll be interesting.
Some would say anyway.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens with that. That's something you're definitely going to want to monitor going into week 1. Be ready to, hopefully have a backup. Hopefully not to have a backup plan, but be ready just in case.
Right.
Something scary. Deonta Foreman, head and neck injury, had to be taken to the hospital, carted out.
Deontay Foreman or you?
Yeah. He was released from the hospital today, so it seems like he's made a full recovery, so that's good. That was a scary situation from some of the things that I had read.
Right.
Roman Wilson, ankle injury week to week. I'll be honest with you, when rookies get hurt, it kind of sucks even more because like you're playing for your spot essentially.
Right.
And he has the opportunity. I'm not the biggest Roman Wilson fan. I don't really think that highly of him as a football player, but he has every opportunity on that team to be, a number 2 besides George Pickens. But now it's been delayed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think they said
kind of
high
wide
ankle
open.
sprain.
Kind of wide open there in Pittsburgh.
Really wide open there.
Well, yeah, and George Pickens has to prove it to me. Mentally prove it to me.
I mean,
he's got all the talent in the world, but man, it just gets under my skin. Like guys complaining, like he's a whiner. He whines. He strikes me as a guy who whines.
He doesn't seem like a whiner. He seems more like an agitator.
Like get me the ball, I'm wide open.
But I also want that. Like all the best are like that.
You're causing no. AJ Brown is not like that. You're causing don't ruffle the feathers.
Don't ruffle the pheasant.
Ruffle the pheasant.
Let's talk about some good things that happened this past week. DJ Moore gets paid 4 years, $110 million, 82.6 guaranteed. Well deserved, in my opinion, for DJ.
Talk about an overpay.
Really think so?
No, I'm confused with another guy we'll talk about later.
Oh, yeah.
No, DJ Moore deserves. He's like one of the most underrated. I think like if you put it together, an all-time 1-2 wide receiver, all under talked about guys, you'd have Mike Evans and you'd have DJ Moore.
Yeah,
DJ Moore doesn't get talked about enough.
That's actually, if you go back in the archives of the Dynasty Dogs. By the way, we just hit a year together doing this. About a couple of days ago, I believe. If you go back in the archives of the Dynasty Dogs sphere, whatever the fuck you want to call it, when we talk about the NFC North last year, I was big on DJ Moore. I was saying, the plethora of quarterbacks that he's played with, he's been a 1,000-yard receiver. This dude has earned that payday, just dealing with what he's had to deal with the past since he came into the league.
Philadelphia's own, by the way.
Philadelphia's own is right. Tua gets paid 4 years, $212.4 million, 167 guaranteed. Not to be outdone, about 2 hours later, Jordan Love gets paid 4 years, $220 million. Richard, you're on the spot. Who deserved that payday more?
Tua. It's not even close.
Yeah.
It's not even close. I was going to ask you that before you asked me. Dude, Jordan Love played 18 career starts. He had 18 career starts and played well in 7 of them. He played well in 7.
A little more than, I'd say about half.
Okay. 7. Okay, so he played well in what? 8 of them? I wouldn't give him 9. I'll give him 8.
I just wanted to fuck.
If that.
Fuck
dude,
you.
I was. And my hippie cut that we got here.
Yeah.
You're throwing me off. I was all for Jordan Love before all the contract talks and like, oh, he's going to hold out. Then I'm like, dude.
Well, again, he was there. He did go to practice.
Right, but like it was like I'm going to hold out. Oh, I'm going to hold out if you don't pay. Dude, what pay you for what? You played well in 7 fucking games.
Yeah.
7 games.
He did
And that's
look
the
really
thing.
good at times too,
In 7
and
games, dude,
especially in the playoffs too. You're missing
Carson
that.
Wentz looked really good in fucking some games too.
Hey,
Like you're paying this guy for what? 7 games, 200 and whatever it is for a 7-game sample size. That's insane.
and the playoffs too. That's a big factor though. He did go into Dallas and beat the
But yeah, he
Cowboys,
beat the
right?
Dallas. Beat the biggest choke artist frauds in the whole NFL.
Yeah, can't argue with that. But that's
While
still a big.
speaking of them, behind a quarterback who still didn't get paid, who's better than Tua and better than Jordan Love in
Oh,
Dak
Dak.
Prescott. Yeah, I think Dak Prescott's better than both of them. Like if I'm starting my team, if who do I want to be a quarterback on my team out of those three, I'm taking Dak, and that's me wearing green, saying that as a Dallas quarterback because originally back in the day when the way that the Dallas Cowboys drafted, that's exactly what I wanted the Eagles to do. I wanted the Eagles to take Dak and Ezekiel Elliott, but they obviously moved up, took Carson Wentz, and then the rest is history. But I like Dak coming out of Mississippi State a lot.
Mhm.
I think he's
Yeah,
better than Tua. I think he's better than Jordan Love. For
I like
now,
Tua a lot.
I like Tua.
I
I don't
think
know if it's
Tua is one of the most underappreciated fantasy quarterbacks because of what happens. Unfortunately, like when it turns to fall and winter, he just
mm,
you know he the Starks come in and take out all the Western. He just winter is coming, and when that comes for Tua, he struggles. But
I don't know if it's because he's had such a career arc where he was like, all right, he was shitty, then he was starting to get good, and then he got like fucking obliterated 8 times, or his hands were all like this, and then like he got back and he was good again. So he's like kind of like, you know,
he's a roller
up and
coaster.
down, up. Yeah, yeah. So he's like starting to get really good. So I think that may throw people off, and the whole left-handed thing kind of throws me the hell off.
It's true. The
Like
lefties do
is
throw
he?
everybody off.
I'm like, is he good? I'm like, I can't tell. It's like he's throwing weird.
But
Can't understand him.
actually, I actually agree with you. I think Tua, I think Tua deserved the payday more than Jordan
Mm.
Love's. 8 or 9 or whatever game sample size. Tua's been very solid. Like even with the injuries, was a solid quarterback
Mm-hmm.
for 3-4 years now.
Right.
So I don't know. I feel like that was a little, what's the word? Foolhardy or a little too soon, I guess is what I want to say for Jordan Love to get that. He's the highest paid quarterback in football right now.
That's so insane.
Yeah, which it is. It
Jalen,
is.
like if you
Yeah,
look at it, Jalen's better than him. Dak's better than him. Tua's better than him. Yeah, who else? Mahomes is better than him. Joe
Allen.
Burrow's better than him. Like, come on, like you just go down the list and list and list. And a lot of that is that's just the way it goes
Mm-hmm.
now. Like, so who's next up for? I honestly I can't see Dallas paying Dak to make him the
I don't
highest
think that
paid.
either. It's scary. It's
Like,
actually for us. It's actually a good thing if they move on from Dak.
and it's dude, you see it. It's they shouldn't.
No,
Like
they
if
shouldn't. They really shouldn't.
no, he's their like he's on pace to be their second best quarterback ever. And really, if you look at the numbers, he can push for it. But you know, Jerry Jones and Stephen Jones are going to screw that up. You kind of seen that, and you see the way that goes when older owners continue to go down that path. It happened with the Raiders, with Al Davis, and how that went to shit, and they're still trying to recover from that. You see that with Dallas. Only difference is I'm having so much fun watching it in Dallas. It's disgusting, but hey, it's good for an Eagles fan.
So take that into dynasty purposes. Which quarterback do you want, or would you rather have, Tua or Love?
Tua,
Tua. Yeah, I think I'm there too. I have
just
Tua
because,
and Love kind of back to back, but I have
but
Tua
like,
slightly higher.
Dude, he throws the ball there. That offense, they throw the ball all the time. It's a
Yeah.
high-powered offense. The running backs are catching the ball. The wide receiver, they just announced number one, Tyreek Hill. They got the best player in the NFL according to the NFL list, which take that with a grain of salt. But
he is kind of close to the number one, though.
yeah, right. But it got thrown off with number 2 because
Right.
I don't know what they put Mahomes at, but like Mahomes is better than Jackson. Mahomes is
True.
like a lot better than him. But if you look at it in the dynasty purposes, Jordan Love has, kind of a group of 3 guys at wide receiver. You don't really know who number 1 is. You got the running back who signed a big contract, but really it's consecutive. It's a 1-year deal with a bunch of, team options. So you don't know what's going on with that. Whereas you have guys in Miami where you got the best player in the NFL. You got the running back Achane, who's going to be a monster if he can stay on the field. So they got a lot more weapons in Miami, which makes
Jalen Waddle there.
Yeah, I've never been a big Waddle. I wasn't a Waddle guy, but
my thing is that Jalen Waddle. I think we forget how good he was 2 years ago before the back injury last year.
Yeah, this is injuries. Yeah.
I mean, if he's healthy, that dude's scary.
Yeah. So they've got a high-powered offense, whereas Green Bay's got a lot of unproven. The whole team is unproven, but they get paid to be that way. But and that sucks, dude.
I agree with you too.
That just that holdout, that saying like that just leaves such a bad taste in my mouth because I was like, oh, Jordan Love's going to be good, dude. I'm like, hey, he's going to be fun to watch, and it's like now he's like entitled. Like I feel entitlement. And I'm like, for what?
Yeah, so I have Tua ahead of Jordan Love as well in dynasty purposes. Again, you mentioned it, the high-powered offense, an okay offensive line. I would say the Packers definitely have a better offensive line than the Miami Dolphins do. Coaching, I'd call that pretty much equal. Mike McDaniel versus Matt LaFleur. So I think that's pretty even, to be honest. But again, Tyreek Hill came out and said he's possibly going to play another year on top of the year he said he was going to retire. So,
which I hate that. It's just like the uncertainty of like just.
I mean, Jason Kelsey did that to us for like 4 years
in
a row.
Yeah, and I hated every second of it.
So did I. But I think it's hard to downplay the effect of that offense and Tua when they're all systems go and when they are at the top of their game, because Tua can be like a top 5 scoring quarterback at any given week.
Yeah.
So
I agree with that.
You want to get into our dog tags and doghouse segment? We're doing the AFC West finally. We mentioned like 4 weeks ago we were going to do it.
What about our cards, man?
Oh, yeah. Sorry. Moving a little too quickly. Getting too spicy for the pepper. Getting a little too spicy for the pepper there. All right, so we are going to finally do the Dynasty Dog Duel, which we haven't done in several weeks because the finding of cards is like finding the golden ticket, Charlie and Chocolate Factory. Yeah. But all right, Rich, you want to start us off?
Let's see, how many packs are we doing this evening?
We're doing 2. We actually are doing 2 because we are very far behind.
Yes. Do you want to pull up the rosters or what?
Yeah, that's what I'm working on. If you stop talking, I need to focus.
I'm not controlling your computer.
I know, but I can't. I can't do this all at the same time. Hold on, I'm pulling it up now. When you call my name. Here we go. All right, can you see it on the screen?
Yeah, let me get my fucking microscope out.
Microphone? You're already talking into
it. What the hell, dude? Make that shit bigger. I need to run them back.
Yeah. Yeah, you do.
So since we're doing 2, you want to go me, you, me, you?
Yeah, we'll do it that way.
Or you, me? Which one?
You, me. Yeah, you, me, you, me.
Me, you?
Stop.
I'll go first.
My brain can't handle this still.
Here we go. I have a bench that is unmatched. I just fucking running back.
Sure. We're gonna do a best ball style though. I'm gonna combine all points together, basically.
All right. Cool. I might have a running back in Derrick Henry.
There you go. It's a good one.
Jair Alexander. Oh man. Eagles assign Reddick. Joe Burrow.
You already have.
Yeah, I don't need him. Jalen Waddle. Oh yes, Desmond Ridder. Shaq Leonard, and a Jaden Reed
It's a
insert.
nice wide receiver right there. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go Derrick Henry, 100%.
Yeah, I think that's Derrick Henry. All right, let me put
Yeah,
that on there.
because I have one,
Baltimore Ravens,
2,
Derrick Henry.
3. Yeah.
All
Oh,
right.
look at
He
me
is
go.
added to your roster. So right now, Rich has Jalen Hurts, Saquon Barkley, Justin Jefferson, Cooper Cup of Coffee, Dalton Kincaid, Joe Burrow, Amon-Ra St. Brown, and Tyreek Hill as his roster. And now I shall open my pack of cards. Richard, tell us the cards we are opening today.
Oh, we got a pack. We got a blaster box of Panini Contenders 2023.
I
Thank
feel like
God.
we have opened these before because I thought
we
didn't.
we have.
I thought we didn't because they didn't look familiar at first, but then like now I'm opening them, they look familiar.
Right.
First card is DeAndre Swift. Second card is the future quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers, Justin Fields. Cooper Cup of Coffee. A running back that seems to never stop is James Conner.
That's a solid one.
Yeah, it is a solid one. Jonathan Taylor, who I already have. Oh,
2-time.
CeeDee Lamb.
Wow, nice.
Yeah. Mac Jones, now who we're not taking. And a Dalton Kincaid. I guess, is that an insert? I don't understand these things. All right. So I will be taking wide receiver CeeDee Lamb.
What a surprise.
Surprise, surprise.
All right.
But yeah, we are going to be doing this best ball style. So when, the games are over and everything, I'm going to go back and put the best, roster together in regards to points. You know what I mean?
And we're using what, sleepers points?
Yeah.
Okay. Ooh, I got a fat card in here. I wonder what daddy is. Brock Purdy. Ugh. Dak Prescott. Von Miller. Oh my God, how many quarterbacks can I get? Jimmy Garoppolo. DeAndre Hopkins. Christian Watson. Oh, look at that. Would you look at that?
That's going to be stuck by it.
I've got an insert of Aiden
O'Connell.
A rookie, a patch card of myself. Enclose authentic. I hate that. They changed it to like not even like game used memorabilia, so it's just like a sliced up jersey. But okay, so that, and then a Tyler Scott and Russ. I don't know how, Roshan Johnson. That's how you say it.
Roshan Johnson. Yeah.
Okay, so I guess I gotta go. Damn, that sucks. Christian Watson, DeAndre Hopkins. Who do I go with? Christian Watson.
Christian Watson? You're going to take the gamble on those hamstrings?
I mean, it's Christian Watson or DeAndre Hopkins or a fourth quarterback.
True. All right. Christian Watson is now added to Richard's roster. And now we shall open my last pack of the evening. That was a nice little easy rip. Quarterback Josh Allen. Already have him. Oh, boy. Oh, donkey. I think I found my pick. Travis Kelce.
Nice.
Chris Godwin is a solid card. Jared Goff. Saquon Barkley. I believe he's already taken, right? Yeah. By you. Ooh. All right. Jaquan Brisker, safety. Oh, would you look at that? Richard. A signed Eli Ricks rookie card.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. Is it numbered?
We're not gonna go. It says number on the back. It says number 233. Oh, you're asking me if it has like this out of this? No, I don't see that on here. But we're gonna sleeve that up.
That's pretty cool.
And then the last card is a double tank anniversary. Tank Bigsby and Tank Dell.
Nice.
Yeah. So
that's
that Eli Ricks is that's a cool one right there. I like that. But my pick is going to be Travis Kelce.
Yeah, that's my second. That's a good choice.
Yeah, that's my second tight end. We got some solid rosters going on here.
Yeah, that was good. That was a good pull by you.
What?
CeeDee Lamb and Travis Kelce.
Yeah. I feel pretty good. Oh, you still have your other card packed open. I thought we were on.
No, we're good.
Oh wait,
I'm just opening the other ones.
who did you? Oh, Derrick
I got
Henry. Right.
Derrick Henry
Right.
and Christian Watson.
Right. All right. So yeah, this is going to be a very interesting matchup that we have going on here. But let's get into our dog tags and dog house segment, Richard. Do you want me to lead us off since we started with you on the last one, or do you want to start it?
You can start it.
All right. So we're doing the AFC West. Like I said, I have the opportunity to talk about the Los Angeles Chargers. Actually, before I get into this, Rich, who wins this division and why? I think it's a pretty easy answer.
Chargers, Chiefs.
Yeah, it's pretty
the
easy.
Same as every year for the past how long?
Do you see there being a dark horse team? Like maybe, I mean, all those teams other than the Chiefs are kind of in a rebuild. Do you see any of them making, not a full rebuild, but like a retool, I guess you could say? Is there any of those teams you think can make a playoff?
I think the best chance is probably the Chargers or the Raiders.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but the Raiders it sucks for the Raiders because they have no quarterback unless
Well, you're out there,
unless Aiden O'Connell actually does something. So.
All right, so we'll let me get into the Chargers here. I'm going to start with my doghouse, and I believe I had him in the doghouse last year as well, and I spelled his name wrong here, but I know who it is. Thank God, Quentin Johnston.
Oh God, alligator arms.
Yeah, we have to. I think, like, I couldn't even find any trades that were worth talking about, like moving on from him because he's pretty much just a throw-in at this point. His value has plummeted.
I traded him this year.
Yeah, you did. I wish I could find what his ADP last year was going into the season, but right now it is at 153.3. He's plummeting. He is going ahead of guys who I wouldn't take him over. Khalil Shakir.
You love
Jermaine
him.
Burton. Yeah, I do like Khalil Shakir. Jermaine Burton and Jacoby Myers. The problem with Quentin Johnston is, well, first, would you take any of those guys over him, or is there one that
Khalil Shakir I would take over him?
Mm-hmm. Jermaine Burton and Jacoby Myers are the other two.
Jacoby Myers, I actually just had. I tried trading him and cut him, but Jacoby Myers is decent. He did decent for me last year. No, there's no one really. It sucks because I was like big on him last year, and then this year it's like I seen all I needed to see.
Yeah. So that's basically where I'm going with this. He's a former first-round pick who had all the opportunity in the world to cement himself as like a number one wide receiver target. Has all the athletic, God-given ability to be a number one and be a fantasy relevant wide receiver, but unfortunately, he cannot catch.
Tough position choice.
Yeah.
For a guy who can't catch.
I mean, look at last year. He, Mike Williams went out. That was essentially who they wanted him to be. The deep ball, go up and get it. Keenan Allen was out. It was him and Josh Palmer. Josh Palmer went out. Like you had to do something there. You know what I mean? Like, I know you're a rookie, but you literally had the golden opportunity to be a number one, and it unfortunately, because look, I don't want to talk shit on this kid. You know what I mean? I don't, because I think he has the opportunity to be really good. It just didn't work out for him. Reports out of camp, again, you got to take a lot of these with a grain of salt at this point, but he's been listed as the fourth wide receiver on that team behind Ladd McConkey, behind Joshua Palmer, behind a guy I believe you and I liked last year who didn't do much, DJ Chark. Sorry.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, he's listed as the fourth. Dry up the videos of him dropping wide open passes.
I've seen so many, dude. It's like
And
wide open and contested, it doesn't matter.
right.
He
But
just
the
can't
thing is,
catch.
he had one. Oh, dude, it pissed me off to no end. I had to share it because, like, I don't understand his inability to want to use his hands to catch the football. He
Right.
had a play that they tweeted out where he went up and over two guys and put his arms out like this, and the ball landed like in his chest. Like, get it? Use your hands. Like, that is the one job you have. Use your hands. I don't
Right.
understand. Like, why are you giving the opportunity to the DBs to smack that thing out of there? You know what I mean? Like, you got to use your hands.
I don't know if he's like afraid or what the hell's going on, but
Dude,
it's
body
not good.
catches are so frustrating with him because it's like the ones where I understand body catching. Obviously there's times where you need to do it, but he will do it at every time he should be using his hands. I
Right.
don't understand it. That makes me think, like you said, he doesn't trust his hands, which
Right.
is alarming.
Yeah, and that's super weird.
Yeah. So, to be honest, if you can move on from Quentin Johnson for a third, and I don't think that's likely at this point,
I don't know what I even moved them for. I don't know how
I
to
would
one sleeper.
I would definitely move on from him. If you could get
Yeah.
Khalil Shakir for him and you're competing, 100% do that.
Mm-hmm.
100% do that. To get into some positive vibes, I'm going to go into my dog tag. And it's a guy I really pumped up going into the pre-draft. And that's going to be nope. You thought you had me there. You didn't.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be former Troy running back Keamni Vidal. 6th-round pick to the Los Angeles Chargers. First of all, this was the golden spot everybody wanted a running back to go to. Los Angeles Chargers.
Mm-hmm.
He got that. This was a guy I was super high on going into the pre-draft process. A guy that loves dishing out contact, loves being able to run through a motherfucker's face, as Marshawn Lloyd would say. Or not Marshawn Lloyd, Marshawn Lynch would say. Contact balance is like out of this world. 1,056 yards after contact last year as a running back. Moves surprisingly well for a guy who, is 210 pounds. Solid pass catcher, smart runner. This is one of the I went back and watched him today just to get ready for this episode. He is one of those guys that attacks the line of scrimmage so hard. He's see hole, hit hole. You know what I mean? No nonsense. None of this, dancing around behind the line of scrimmage. It's see hole, hit hole. And I think a guy like Jim Harbaugh and Greg Roman are going to love that. His current ADP is 166.5. He's going ahead of his locker mate, J.K. Dobbins.
Is he?
Yeah, to be honest, I'd rather take the dart throw on Keamni Vidal than J.K. Dobbins because, J.K. Dobbins, that's another guy who has like the most unlucky injuries in the world.
Tell me about it. I have them. Tell me about it.
It's like, and it's going to be hard for a 6th-round pick, but again, we're talking about these injuries with J.K. Dobbins. Gus Edwards, another guy who struggles to stay healthy at times, doesn't really offer you much of a pass catching opportunity, but Vidal can catch passes. Vidal can run routes out of the backfield. So I am very interested to see what they do with him. I don't think he starts. What?
It's just
I screw that up.
It just I'm like
the brain's going again a little bit. Yeah.
Concussion.
I don't think he's going to be like the number one right away. I think in the middle of the season, you're going to start to see Vidal carve out a role for himself. Greg Roman had a quote recently saying, really good vision. His brain and his feet are connected so quickly. So when he sees something, his feet are moving right there. So again, we talked about him being a smart runner, attacking the line, see hole, hit hole. Greg Roman sees it.
Right.
And not only that, Greg Roman and Jim Harbaugh are, of the ilk where they like to use multiple running backs. They might have a guy who gets, 15, 20 carries, but then the other guys are going to get 10. They're going to get 12. You know what I mean? There's going to be guys that touch the football. So I think Keamni Vidal is a big sleeper and a guy we might be talking about next year as a possible starter for the Chargers. And for a 6th-round pick, that's amazing.
That's a steal.
He was a third or 4th-round rookie pick in Dynasty, which is great for a 6th-round pick. But, I did start to see him sneak into the 2nd round, and that's a bit rich, like yourself, for my blood. But 3rd or 4th, I took the flyer every time. He is one of my most rostered rookies from this class. You have any feelings on Vidal?
I kind of, as a guy who has one dynasty team and J.K. Dobbins being on that team. Oh yeah, I do. We do have two. I have J.K. Dobbins on the one. I hope J.K. comes back. I think it's his job to lose almost, just because he has the,
it really is.
He has the, incumbent. He has Greg Roman, who's with him in Baltimore, and then he's coming off a horrific fucking injury, but he's still young. What is he? 20? He's in like low 20s, isn't he? Which I thought he's been around for a million years.
I think he's 24, 25.
Yeah. So, but like I said earlier, it's a 1-2 punch. So, teams need 2 running backs. So there's enough.
Especially a Greg Roman offense.
Yeah. There's enough.
But I've been pumping Vidal up since the episode I did with Wiz from Dynasty DNA back in February. I have been very impressed by him since then. And I think, like I said, it might not be right away. He might be on your taxi squad for a bit, but he's going to make a difference, I think.
Yeah.
Maybe not a huge difference, but he's going to be on the field making plays. And possibly, not going to say take the job if J.K. Dobbins is, healthy. But he's going to be a guy that's going to be startable, I believe.
Right.
Let's go to yours. Who are you going to go with first?
Which team would you like first, Senor?
Go with the Raiders, because I want to hear you talk about Aiden O'Connell.
Yeah, that's not who I'm talking about.
Damn.
All right. So, what would you like first, the dog tag or the dog house?
I went dog house first, so you go dog tag first.
I'll go
you
dog
be the
tag.
positive spin.
All right. So my dog tag's going to go to Zamir White. He's going around guys like David Montgomery, James Conner, Najee Harris. His ADP is 93. David Montgomery's 83, or did I type it? Yeah, 83. James Conner, 84. Najee Harris, 92. So all around in that realm. And it keeps changing his name, so it's throwing me off. It's a Samir White. That's not his name. He's someone I'm personally targeting in redraft, especially. An absolute value at 93. Big body running back at 6 foot 215, and no longer in the shadow of Josh Jacobs, solidifying himself as RB1 in Las Vegas. We've seen flashes of huge potential and upside last season when Jacobs went down with an injury. Antonio Pierce had made it quite obvious that he likes to run the ball. And I think we could look at a ton of volume with Zamir White. I think he's like at 93 is such a great value, and that nobody's talking about him, and I don't want anyone to talk about him. But I think it's going to be huge for him in Las Vegas. Finally, he's not behind Jacobs, and he looked really good when Jacobs went down. He had really good games. I think he's someone you could probably try to pick up for not too much, not a crazy overpay. I'd probably, what would you say, maybe a 2nd round?
Yeah, I was going to say a 2nd is probably what you would have to give up to get him for a competing team.
Yeah, and he's a running back 1, so he's going to give you running back 1 numbers. And with guy who, but they got Aiden O'Connell, so he can't throw the ball for shit. So what else are you going to do?
True.
You're going to run the damn ball.
Yeah, I'm not huge on Zamir White, to be honest with you.
I think he's solid. I thought you'd have known all about him.
No, I think he's solid, like you said. A bruising running back, not really a guy who's going to give you much of a PPR upside. So that caps his ceiling a little bit.
Right.
But a guy I really liked, and he's been making some noise in camp. Again, this is another late round flyer. Dylan Labe from New Hampshire. They're going to be their pass catching primary running back, in my opinion. So I think that could eat into him a little bit. And I think they're going to make it a focal point to get Brock Bowers the ball, get Devontae Adams the ball, because Devontae's already disgruntled, or he's been disgruntled.
Yeah,
So,
but again, how are they going to get him the damn ball?
I mean, Gardner Minshew.
I mean, we could have a Brock Purdy story for all we know.
True.
How
It's very
Aiden
true.
O'Connell turns out to be really great, but is it likely?
I think Zamir White, though, could get you running back 2 numbers. You know what I mean? Week to week. Just because that PPR thing isn't there. Like, Isaiah Pacheco, another guy who doesn't catch the ball a whole lot, but he's pretty safely going to get you top 15 numbers. You know what I mean? Because he's going to pound the ball. He's going to get in the end zone. And I see that kind of an outlook for Zamir White. I'm just not as high on him, to be honest with you. But I definitely would give up a second if I could possibly try to win now.
Right.
Go ahead.
Sorry, you froze there a little bit. I can't hear you.
Oh, did I? Oh, sorry.
No, you're good now. All right, so Doghouse. Who do you think it is?
Is it Aiden O'Connell?
No. Take a damn good guess.
Brock Bowers?
No, of course not. He's my guy now. It's my guy from last year, Michael Mayer. Oh, that poor sap. ADP his ADP is not even relevant at 203. And my dissertation I wrote for him is, unfortunately, this choice doesn't have anything to do with his ADP. Going ahead and take a flyer. But what I think you'll be getting is the blocking tight end for the friggin' Raiders, which I thought was going to be the guy for years to come until they decided to go, you know what? Let's just take another tight end. Yeah. It pains me to say that because last year he was my guy, but it's not looking good for him. To me, I see him sliding down the list. The ball, but you only got one ball. You got, like you just said, Devontae Adams. You got Brock Bowers. You got, I think, Jacoby Myers is going to feed into that. He's not. He's just going to be out there to block. I think he's just turned into and slid into the blocking role where, a blind squirrel finds a nut every now and then. He'll get a touchdown here and there, but it sucks. It sucks to say that. I got rid of him during our rookie draft. I don't know what it was, maybe a 2 4s, maybe a 4 and a 5 or something like that. I didn't draft him high, but a guy who I thought was going to be he may turn out to be something, but it's highly unlikely. I wouldn't go near him just because he's going to be a blocking tight end. That's my thought on him. He's a blocking tight end.
You don't think there's any hope for a Rob Gronkowski, Aaron Hernandez type situation?
No, not in the slightest. Just because, again, I feel like we talk about the Raiders so much about how terrible their quarterbacking is. There's no way that they could pull a Tom Brady and be like, "Oh, I'm going to make 2 tight ends great." It sucks, but it is what it is. And maybe he gets traded. If he gets traded, he gets moved. He could instantly turn around. But until then,
it's going to take a few years probably for them to move off of him. This does suck because I was also a Michael Mayer fan. He was my tight end 2 coming into that class last year behind Dalton Kincaid.
Mm-hmm. I think I had them switched.
Yeah, you did, if I remember correctly. He's just an all-around good football player, and it just sucks they took a guy, super high. And I was reading today that Indianapolis Colts tried to move up to get Brock Bowers, so that would have been the perfect scenario, but it didn't happen. But I really like Michael Mayer. Again, I wrote an article for Toys of Titles about how he was a good buy for this year, pre-draft, of course. And then, of course, I was like, well, I guess I'll go fuck myself as soon as they drafted Brock Bowers because I think Michael Mayer coming out of college was coming out of college called Baby Gronk at one point. Right. But now he's just dead in the water.
So what do you think? They seen something in him? Do you think they seen something in him or lack of seeing something in him? Or do you think it was just like, oh shit, like we didn't think that this talent would fall to us. We have to take it.
Yeah. It sure seems like from what I was like looking into and reading, they took best player available, on their board. Like they didn't take a position of need. They didn't take, somebody else. They wanted Brock Bowers. They wanted that, supposed blue chip player. And that's not a bad thing. You know what I mean? Like that, you want to start because eventually you're going to have to draft a quarterback, right? And you want to start having those pieces ready now. And Brock Bowers is that guy that could be, a difference maker. And it just happens to be, unfortunately, in detriment of Michael Mayer.
Do you think they wanted Michael Penix and they kind of got caught with their pants down?
That's what I had heard too, I think.
Right. I think that's what happened.
Michael Penix there would have been great, to be honest.
Yeah, he would have started 4 years beforehand.
It's true. Speaking of Michael Penix, today he walked into practice wearing a Michael Vick jersey, and I was like, that's as the kids say, vibes right there. That's aura.
Pandering. Is he? He's left-handed too, isn't he?
Yeah, he is.
Okay.
His comp for me was Tua, believe it or not, because they are very similar in their precision accuracy.
I would have went Mark Brunell.
Ugh.
That's the only other left-handed quarterback I can think of.
All right, so I'll go into the Denver Broncos. This was a tough one, to be honest. There's a lot of dog houses on this team to me.
Mm-hmm.
Mine is actually, a whole kennel full, a whole dog park full. This is a guy I really liked last year, and I thought he was a good buy last year for this year. Because he had the injury, coming off the injury, I thought it was going to be a slow roll for him going into last year, and then this year would be the coup de grace, as they say, for him. But everything I'm hearing out of him right now is scaring the shit out of me, and that's Javonte Williams, running back. Listen, I don't believe the reports that he was a cut candidate, to be honest. I don't believe that at all. But what scares me is they really like Jaleel McLaughlin. They drafted Audric Estime, who both you and I both like. They still have Samaje Perine. I don't think he makes the team or anything like that. They drafted Blake Watson from Memphis. So that's a lot of running backs in that room. It's just at 91.5 ADP, he's going ahead of guys like David Montgomery, which, if I'm competing, to be honest, I'd rather take David Montgomery than Javonte Williams because I know, David Montgomery is going to more than likely get those short yardage touchdowns. And touchdowns are
He's a vulture. Yep.
Yeah. Najee Harris. I think we're sleeping on Najee Harris, to be honest with you. I think this is going to be a good year for him as well. And then your guy, Zamir White. I would probably take him over Zamir White, or I probably would take Zamir White. That one would be close for me because, to be honest, I really like the talent of Javonte. It's just the situation around
staying
him.
On the field.
Yeah, staying on the field, but the situation around him doesn't feel safe. You know what I mean? Like Sean Payton seems to I don't know what it is. He's getting first team reps, but then he's a possible cut candidate. They have 17 running backs. I don't know. Something doesn't. He could just be in a timeshare and maybe he wins it out, but he's just in a void for me.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
That leaves you no fantasy relevancy if he's in a timeshare.
Obviously, there's timeshares that work, right? David Montgomery, Jahmyr Gibbs, because they're polar opposites. There's definitely duos that work. I just don't see it in Denver that working because it seems like Jaleel McLaughlin is the guy. Because Sean Payton was using him a shit ton last year. So, and who knows? But some trades, I would trade him for a second. And if I could get something small on top of that, like a fourth or a third, I would do it. Some trades that I've seen and an actual trade that I've done. On a competing team, I traded Javonte straight up for Alvin Kamara, which I think that's huge because, you say what you want about Kamara, he's going to be the focal point of that offense. All the PPR stuff is going straight to him.
Yep.
Javonte for Romeo Doubs.
I like that. That's actually, I feel like that's a fucking steal.
Well,
I didn't even think you could get a second for Javonte Williams.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's
getting Kamara back.
Mm-hmm. I like that too. I was super excited to get that done.
Yeah.
Javonte for Romeo Doubs. You and I both are big Romeo Doubs guys, so I think I would take Romeo Doubs. in that situation. This one was weird. Javonte in a first for Devontae Smith. I don't know how that happened. What do you mean?
In a dynasty team?
Yeah, Javonte in a first for Devontae Smith.
I was thinking of I heard Devontae Smith and thought Devontae Adams. Okay. Like what? Raiders
Yeah,
always
I'm
on my
all
mind.
over the Devontae Smith side on that one.
Yeah. I was like I had
By the
Devontae
way,
Adams on my mind.
just seamless plug here. Go out and buy Devontae Smith in fantasy or in Dynasty right now. He is going as a wide receiver 17 in Dynasty right now.
Ooh.
That's cheap. But anyway, Javonte for 2 seconds. And I would do that as well in a heartbeat. But if I could get a second, maybe a fourth thrown in, just for shits and giggles, I would. Again, it's not that I don't like the talent. I think Javonte Williams, if he were to get traded to the Dallas Cowboys tomorrow, my whole my whole outlook would change. I just don't trust what they're doing right now, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
That's going to lead me into my dog tag. This is a guy, I kind of feel like I'm rehashing a topic here, but 3 weeks ago, when I did that solo episode, I was doing some cheap buys. And can't really find much cheaper than our good buddy, Marvin Mims, wide receiver.
Oh, dude, you love Marvin Mims.
Yeah, so do I. ADP, shout out to Muscles of Dynasty DNA, by the way. Muscles Ryan Mail. Another big Marvin Mims guy. Marvin Mims truther like myself. Going off the board at 182 ADP. So, again, you're getting him pretty much for nothing at a 182. He was a second-round pick in 2023. He was the first pick of the Sean Payton era in Denver. They moved up to grab him. Everything you hear about Marvin Mims coming out of Sean Payton's mouth is always positive. It's never negative. And I think last year was just that whole team was discombobulated with Russell Wilson and Cortland Sutton and Jerry Jeudy and, injuries and like everything kind of seemed like the ceiling was falling and Marvin didn't really get the opportunity to shine. And when he did, man, did he, he had a couple games where he was like 113 yards, punt returns for touchdowns, kick returns for touchdowns.
Yeah.
The dude's an explosive playmaker. They just need to figure out how to get him involved, in my opinion.
And that's what's going to be the main issue a lot, like the Raiders, is who's their quarterback. In my opinion, I think Zach Wilson's going to start for the Broncos. But
I read today he's the third.
Really?
Right now, I heard this is, again, training camp speak. You can never fucking buy into a lot of it. They have Jared Stidham as the starter, and then Bo Nix, and then Zach Wilson.
Jared Stidham's got the veteran edge, I guess. But Bo Nix, I was never really high on.
I'm not.
We talked about this before. I think I get Mad Paxton Lynch vibes from him.
So do I. Yeah, so do I.
So it's like
I get Zach Wilson vibes from Bo Nix.
No, I think, dude, I don't know why I'm so high on Zach Wilson. I think he got a raw deal in New York. I think he's actually pretty decent, but we'll see. But you just got to, dude, it's so hard when you have a good wide receiver or you think you have a wide receiver with potential. You can't get him the ball. When he can have all the potential in the world, but if you got a guy who can't get him the ball, he's screwed. You know what I mean? Like, you can hold on to him until eventually you get someone who can get him the ball, and that's what happens a lot in Denver, in Las Vegas. You know what I mean? You have these guys who can, wow, this guy's going to be good. He looks good, but at the end of the day, he can't get the ball. And I think that's what's happening with Mims.
Yeah, I'm not the biggest Bo Nix person either, but he's a guy who is accurate, who gets the ball out quickly, short yardage, screen passes, can get the ball deep. It's just not, doesn't have the strongest arm. But again, I think some of that plays into Marvin Mims' specialties. Get him the ball in space, let him, be the explosive playmaker that we saw in college. Me and you typed up an article that never went anywhere about Marvin Mims and how much we liked him.
Yeah.
But a special teams ace, and we say it all the time, special teams is the way to get on the field when you're, kind of in a crowded room. But right now he's the number 2, in my opinion, behind Cortland Sutton. and he is just like, let him go up and get it. Put it in the
Yeah.
air, let him, because his deep ball tracking was some of the best in that class last year. And I
Yeah.
just don't think they were using him properly,
Mm-hmm.
obviously. But when he
I
got the
agree.
opportunity, he took advantage of it. And, would you give up a third and a fourth for Marvin Mims?
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
I
I'd
mean,
rather take the gamble.
yeah. See, why not?
Troy Franklin or Marvin Mims? A wide receiver that was just taken in the fourth round, who actually I think you and I both really liked, and I was kind of surprised by the fourth round pick,
I
but
think, yeah. Because he slipped. I thought he was going to go earlier than
majorly.
that. Yeah. I think I would probably. The only thing that I think Troy Franklin has on Mims is the fact that if Bo Nix does start, they have a cohesiveness
Connection.
already. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I probably would take Franklin, to be honest.
I think I would. I mean, again, I was really high on Franklin, but I think I would
Hmm.
take Mims in that situation
I
still.
don't think you can
He's
go
got the
wrong.
draft capital. No, I mean, one of them's going to possibly win out, right? Um, but you are right. The Bo Nix, connection's
I think
definitely
that gives
there.
them like the slighter upper hand.
Mm-hmm. But just fucking Sean Payton, give Marvin Mims the football. Give me what I want, as Batista would say. Um, you got any final words for the evening? Because that's it for me.
No.
No, we got more fantasy. We got more preseason football next week. We'll be back next week. Um, we're going to be talking about some of the games that have happened because I think there's several on Thursday night next week. So I'm excited to dive back into that. What division you want to talk about next week?
Well, let's start with you. Do you not want me to talk about the Chiefs? Do you want me to skip the
Oh
Chiefs?
wow, I thought you did that already. No.
No, I did I did the Raiders. I was just letting you cook.
Oh
I,
well,
I,
you can call me Danger Russ with the cooking that I'm doing because listen, man, the brain's not still fully going.
I'm like, dude, the concussion's still real.
Yeah,
But no, I'll get it if you would be so kind. I'll get
yeah,
into the Kansas City Chiefs. You want?
please
All right,
do.
real quick.
That's my
I'll
bad.
go. No, you're good. I'll go into the dog tag real quick, and that's Xavier Worthy. His ADP is 64. Going around guys like T. Higgins at
You said dog
63.
tag, right?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Um,
I was gonna yell at
Going
you.
around your boy George Pickens at 65, and Jordan Addison at 67. So my dissertation here is the Chiefs took this guy at 28 overall, adding record-breaking speed with a 4.21 40 time. Worthy's target was the target leader last year at Texas with over 1,000 yards. Through this though to become largely my text is small. Sorry. Um, this was largely from the screen game that Texas ran because they ran screens out the ass, and that can be something that he can benefit from because just like Texas, Andy Reid loves to run the screen. They run the screen game all the
Mm.
time, and I think that could help, build rapport with Patrick Mahomes as they get through training camp. But issues with this guy is he's as thin as a string bean at 165,
You see the
and
video that came out yesterday?
no
Oh, go ahead. I'll let
of
you go,
him.
and then I'll tell you about it. Yeah.
He's already had some hamstring issues and some illness with strep throat, but that's early in camp, so thankfully he'll be able to, build rapport with this guy. I think he can fall into wide receiver 2 territory behind Rashee Rice if Rashee Rice decides to not go to, Tokyo Drift. I think Rashee Rice is going to be the number one receiver in Kansas City. Do you agree or disagree? I don't think you agree.
Disagree.
You disagree? You think Worthy's going to be the one?
Yeah, man, I really liked Xavier Worthy. I have him rated higher, comparing the two, their college film and stuff like that. Obviously, we have to see what Worthy looks like in an NFL, but just basing it off of what I saw on film of the both of them, Xavier Worthy is not just a speed guy; he's a guy who can run routes and a guy who knows how to get open. So I'm
Let
very
me ask you,
interested.
but does his size scare you in the NFL wise? Because he's like, we deal with that here with Devontae Smith. He's thinner than Devontae Smith, and I didn't
He
think that was
is.
possible.
But we've seen, Devontae kind of break the mold a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen it. Tank Dell he's like the same
He's really
size.
small, dude. That's a video
Yeah.
I've seen of him. I didn't realize he was that small. I was like,
He
holy
is.
shit.
Tank Dell, up until they used him in a goal line package for whatever fucking reason,
Yeah, and then he got hurt after that. Yeah,
was killing it. Demario Douglas, another guy who's smaller, who's a solid wide receiver. I wouldn't call him to the level of Devontae and Tank Dell, but he's still very solid. I think the NFL is trending to the quicker, smaller, faster wide receivers, and you can't get much quicker or faster than Xavier Worthy, to be honest with you.
Yeah, and with that, the only thing is, if they're trending towards that, I mean, guys are still, like, linebackers aren't trending towards being smaller, or, safeties aren't trending towards being smaller. So with that, as they get smaller, these guys stay the same size and just hit the shit out of them. So I'm kind of concerned.
That was
that
a
would be
video
my
yesterday.
concern.
That was a video yesterday. So he got shoved off his route by a DB. I don't know if it was a safety or a corner, but then a defensive end just fucking smoked him right after that. So he got pushed to the side, and then a defensive end is a big fucking dude.
He's gonna smoke anybody. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's just
like if you're getting hit a 5-yard bump and you fly 10 yards, that's an issue.
It is.
That would be my. But I wrote that, I put down. It's not something you can't get taller, but you can put weight on. So it's okay, he's 165 now, but he can easily be 175 by week, whatever. You just dietitians and stuff like that, if that's the route they choose to go. You know what I mean? He doesn't have to at all, but that could be something that could be worked on, or weight could be gained. So that I don't think is a huge issue.
If you use your quickness and speed to your advantage, obviously there's still ways you can beat more physical defenders. Like if somebody's trying to jam you on the line, we see it all the time. Defenders getting swiped away and losing that battle right away by quicker, release packages from wide receivers. So it's definitely possible. I think he's got the ability to do it. It's just, if anybody can get the best out of a wide receiver who reminds me of Deshaun Jackson, it's Andy Reid.
Yeah. Yeah,
that
I
could
can
be
agree
fun.
with that.
If Xavier Worthy hits Deshaun Jackson levels, it's scary.
Yeah, and especially because of the way Andy loves to run screens, and Worthy getting most of his yardage at Texas during the screen game, it's going to be an easier transition for him, and I think he can really benefit from that.
Yeah, a lot of other than that video yesterday, a lot of positive videos and tweets have been put out about Xavier Worthy just getting open and just blowing past everybody.
Yeah, I agree. I'll get into my dog house here real quick, and that's going to be on the other side of the field, or the other lining up on the other side. That'd be Hollywood Brown. His ADP is 111. He's going around guys like Xavier Legette, who, let me tell you, the more I watch of him, and I think it's just his interviews, the more I love him. I don't even need to see, he's good on the field, but the way he talks is just he's such an awesome guy.
He looks a little different on the field from what I've seen.
Yeah. He's got Calvin Ridley at 110 and Christian Watson at 112. There was a time that, reading these names, I would take Hollywood Brown over every one of them. This season, I feel the opposite. Before the draft, Brown signed with Kansas City and was poised to be the number 2 wide receiver option. Fast forward after the draft, seems as though Xavier Worthy is poised for that position, especially having the same body type, which I think they're off maybe a couple pounds and a couple inches in height-wise. I feel as though with the addition of Worthy and the continued ascension of Rashee Rice, if he can stay out of trouble, and of course Travis Kelce, there will be just too many mouths to feed in the passing game to make a real impact in the fantasy space. I just think there's just too many guys that, if before the draft I was like, oh shit, Hollywood Brown going into that offense. Yeah, but now it's he's going to be a guy who probably gets, 4 catches a game, maybe. You know what I mean? There's so many guys that can be targeted, and it sucks because I thought he fit really well in Arizona when he was in Arizona. I thought that was a really good fit for him. But going to Kansas City now, especially after drafting Worthy, I think he's just essentially irrelevant. Like I said, all those guys, Watson, Leggett, Calvin Ridley, especially with DeAndre Hopkins going down, I would take every one of those guys over Hollywood Brown.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah, I can't really argue. I was excited when he signed with Kansas City as well. And then they literally drafted a very similar player and Xavier Worthy. I don't see it either for him at this point with, Travis Kelce, Rashee Rice, Xavier Worthy. I don't know. I was excited for it, and it just it's over already. It was over like a month and a half later.
Yeah.
It sucks. Kind of over before, but he's another guy who's kind of had his issues staying healthy as well.
Yep. I'm so surprised. Like they went off of him from Baltimore. Like all those years back, I thought he was great in Baltimore.
And I think he wanted to get paid. Was what the issue was,
and they weren't feeling it.
Yeah, and then he went to Arizona and had a couple, decent seasons. Again, just couldn't stay healthy.
Yep.
But it's going to be interesting to see what that offense looks like this year and what the plan is and who is the number one. Obviously, well, let's rephrase that. Who's the number 2? Because Travis Kelce's the number fucking 1. No matter what.
Right.
But it's going to be tough. I think it's going to probably take a few weeks to get that offense figured out right away. Because there's a lot of speed, and they haven't had that amount of speed since Tyreek Hill. Now there's 2 dudes that can do that.
Yeah. Right.
So, all right. Well, since I closed this out a little too early last time, why don't we close this out now? Again, we'll be back next week, breaking
barring
down
any car accidents. Hopefully, hope to God we don't have any.
You want to do the NFC West, or did we do? No, we didn't do that yet. We haven't done them yet.
Yeah, let's do the NFC West.
Yep, we'll do the NFC West next week. Very interested to talk about that division because that division has gotten a little bit stronger, in my opinion. But again, for the Dynasty Dogs, I'm Mike Anthony. You can follow me on Twitter or X at Dynasty Dog Mike. And for Rich, you can follow him at Dynasty Dog Rich on the X Sphere. We will see you guys next week.
Peace.